Hey, sorry. What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and I'm just giving my glasses a good shine here so I can make sure I read on how far the Nasdaq and the stocks have crashed here. So I just want to make sure I give you these accurate numbers, so that again, make sure these I'm not seeing these smudges on the screen, and I'm actually seeing the proper things here. Because again, cleaning my glasses more today than I probably ever had in my life. But yeah, how is everyone doing? Again, thank you for stopping by at this live stream. We wanted to plan to do this yesterday, but now we're going to be just doing it today. I think a little bit more relevant today. If you haven't watched it, I tried to make a pretty thoughtful video on trying to understand of trying to educate folks the best way possible of like, hey, buying the dip doesn't always work, and especially as of right now, this is not the dip that we saw back in like the September October timeframe. This is not the dip that we saw in August. This is a little bit of a different kind of market pullback and trend break, and we'll be doing a really good look at the market overall. We're going to be looking at the Nasdaq and just kind of breaking it down from there. Then, of course, we'll go to the fantastic live chat and be talking to people's questions, kind of answering things. But at the first like 5 or 10 minutes, I wanted to kind of discuss and look at the Nasdaq and what I mean by trend breaking here, and just kind of and help folks quite understand that. Looks like Alan's there. Mac, what's up, my friend? D Nice, how you doing? How you doing? MJ, GTFO. I think I lost my finger today. I still have 9, maybe 8 left. God bless you. Ben, how you doing, my friend? John, will Chinese stocks like NIO, XPF, NRI ever recover? Sure. Again, I don't know. K Thunder, what's up, my friend? Flying Gamer, let's go. Let's say I have reconditioned or reconfigured my portfolio. Yeah, are you out of AMC, Alan, already? So let's kind of just dive into, let's just look at the QQQ. Let's just make it pretty straightforward here, and we'll look at the QQQ. Of course, QQQ is the NASDAQ ETF. As of right now, as of this live stream at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, we're around 301 in after hours trading. That's pretty far down there. Of course, that is really testing that bottom that we saw come in today. Looking here at, again, the 15-minute chart here, I'm using orange, kind of be like a neutral color here. We're seeing it kind of hit that 300 level we talked about being some support here, kind of coming through at those ranges here. Let's do that. Go back to the daily chart here. Again, looking at this larger time frame, what do you see? Ever since that bottom, from way over here, I'm actually going to make this graph a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. So you don't kind of see all those sidebars over there. Is that, you guys able to see the graph and the chart there? Okay. And again, if you haven't already, I know you're probably having, if your portfolio took a dip today, please hit the like. Is that too soon? So looking at this chart here, you can see here where my beautiful head is. We had that bottom of last year on the Nasdaq around the 165. Okay, ever since that move, that low there, we've been pretty much going up on a straight line. And by meaning of a straight line, lack of a better words, of this momentum that we're seeing kind of come through, really strong recovery, a lot of incentives out there in the market to kind of get things back up and running, even though we saw tech really just really blow up and really see a lot of those innovations of those funds. At the same note, you really need to look at the trend here. So what really comes through in the short-term trend that most people follow is the 50 SMA. So 50 SMA is basically the red line here, the red dotted line here. That's the 50 simple moving average. That's what the basic most technical books teach you to be potential resistance. From that very strong V-shaped recovery, as you may call it, we bounced off very aggressively, holding the 21 EMA even to the 34 EMA a couple times. From that, we had that really large move higher again, moving from that 21 EMA quite substantially in that pullback in September, October kind of time frame, if you remember. But guess what we came down to? We came down to the 89 EMA. So that's going to be number one right there. Okay. Then you normally just don't get a really crazy recovery and just kind of bounce back from that. We kind of hit that previous top here, and then we came right back down. Guess what? 89 the 89 EMA once again. And I just saw Ryan enter the channel. What's up, Ryan? Then, okay, the path of least resistance, probabilities, blah, blah, blah. We would suspect that potentially the 89 EMA would hold that 3, but it did not. It did not. And what we're seeing through coming in here is a pretty large move into the lower bands here. So we talked about that $300 level, which we see that the edge of the candlestick. Can things recover here? What you have to look at is the equity market is a very small fish compared to the monster killer planet or alien species known as the bond market. The bond market is, I believe, 4 or 5 times larger on a capital basis than the equity market. So those guys and gals really kind of can move things around. So you have to be very mindful and understand that uh, when the bonds speak, they speak. And what we're seeing that kind of come through of the yield curve and the fears of inflation, da 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 da. I just think that you have to take it seriously. And we have taken it somewhat seriously to some extent. Some people believe that are just kind of still buying the dip kind of scenarios, which I think is a little bit ill-advised on what usually was the game plan, initially speaking, if you're somewhat newer to trading here. Because you can see here, going back out to this yearly chart here on the QQQ, we've really not seen many pullbacks. Again, we have not broken the 89 EMA ever since that recovery that we really saw, that V-shaped recovery kind of come through. So we're saying you're effed. No, I think, Ben, like you have to be, it's not going to be, you have to change your mindset. Like, I was talking to my wife. I was like, I need to better spill out the beans, in the sense of trying to tell folks of like, hey, this doesn't mean that the market's going to be crashing for the next 10 years or something like that. This could last a little bit. Again, I don't know how long it could last. It could potentially last a couple weeks. It could last a couple months. I don't know how long the time it takes for people to, like, okay, inflation is here. Let's just get it over with. Let's just check that box and let's just kind of continue moving on. Let me buy some Tesla here again, kind of scenario. So, um, technically speaking, on this chart here, we're looking for potentially that $300 level to hold. If that $300 level does not hold coming in tomorrow, we're going to be looking again to around the lower targets, around the 297 to 295 on the QQQ. That is basically something I really want to be careful about, like buying the dip. Like, so people are like confused and like, Ken, what do you mean don't buy the dip? Don't Is that what I'm supposed to do? Da, da, da. Like, to what extent? What do you mean buy the dip? Like, you could have bought the dip here, you could have bought the dip here, you could have bought the dip here, but guess what? Then you bought the dip here, and then you're actually down the 3 times that you bought here. Like, this is not a clear pattern here that we're seeing here. This is not a very consolidating, a very tight, like a tiger kind of pattern here. So with this very heavy, extensive, let me just make it red so people can understand it. I call it blood red here. I'll get to the questions in a second. Sorry, guys. I wanted to kind of talk about the beginning of just what I mean by interpreting the charts. At the same time, you're seeing damage. Like, imagine the QQQ is a large aircraft carrier in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and it got hit by, I don't know, it got hit by a torpedo, maybe took some damage on their main decks, whatever. That's basically what we saw kind of coming in here. Like, this is the big aircraft carrier floating through, and their airplanes are taking off, whoosh, whoosh. But and then a torpedo came in, aka this looks yeah. Torpedo came in. This is a torpedo. I don't know what torpedoes look like, and it came in and it hit the front bow of the ship, causing us um, that could potentially ruin the day. And again, that really just put everything on like high alert mode of just like waiting around, that we could potentially get hit by another torpedo. And then another torpedo kind of came in, and now the rear rudder is damaged. And now we're somewhat taking on water onto our aircraft carrier here now. And we need to make evasive maneuvers, aka tactical retreat, and just kind of getting out of that scenario. And by getting out of that scenario is you have a stop loss, you get out of anything that is potentially short dated. Is it the time now? I've done it for most of my stuff a day and a half ago. That is with that insightful that could we bounce back and hit back to 310 tomorrow? Sure, but I think the main point of this scenario is that thing has already been damaged and it doesn't repair itself that fast overnight. So just to kind of keep that in mind. So uh, I just wanted to kind of just highlight that. So I don't want to sound like this is bearing times, but I just want people to understand what is currently going on. Cough, stimulus check, cough. Alan, uh, yeah, no one knows the dip exactly, Ben. Oh, Ryan, I love my Samsung fridge. Whoo. All right, let's go through some questions. Let's see here. Let's see here. PLT, yeah, PLTR is one that held up pretty good today. So looking here on the graph here or the chart here, PLTR again, this is a large holding from Kathy Wood and ARK Invest. That $22.69 has been some initial short-term support here. So what do I mean by that? We have it basically here. We have a 1, we have a 2, we have a 3, and kind of a 4 happening here, that we can kind of see that potentially trying to level off here. The By leveling off, we're starting to see the 5 and 8 moving averages, which again is the pink and white line here, to starting to kind of start curling parallel to the longer dated lines here. So that doesn't mean that the pain is over. That just means it's trying to find a potential base here. The thing with PLTR, where you're not seeing these crazy red kind of candles, like completely down and just continuously trending lower. They're kind of somewhat trying to level off here. Again, that doesn't mean you're safe, you're out of the woods kind of scenario. It's just looking at like, hey, this line right here is going to become very strong support. It is, again, PLTR took a beating the beginning of the year. Like it had a huge run higher with whatever market moves that people were getting into it. But then it kind of was choppy, and then it kind of fell out of favor, and it was actually kind of moving down way before the overall market really did. And it's taking a little bit, it's kind of recovering slightly a little bit faster. So full disclosure, I own positions in PLTR. They're very longer dated positions, so I'm not going to be too skeptical on like just getting out and just getting out of the scenario immediately. Initially, that 2269 is going to be that support. So 2269 to 2143 is going to be basically your first level of support to the downside. And if that breaks, we can easily come down to the 200 EMA, which is currently around that $20 price target with PLTR. K Thunder, you're talking about. Oh, let me get out of this. What was it? UWMC. Yeah. So this one. How do I tie this one into this? Very much so. Like it was a very downward trending here. Let me do a different color here. Very much just downward trending here. A lot of downward trending here. Finally broke that upward movement again due to the rocket move being somewhat of a linkage. It's kind of in a chain link kind of scenario with Rocket, with the same kind of company, same kind of in the same category, same kind of business model, some scenario, blah blah blah. It kind of got a little boost from that. With that being said, it went into FOMO parabolic mode, and now it's just like everyone just kind of again selling everything, hitting the panic button. And the thing I don't want people to see and try to do is try to step in front of the avalanche that we're seeing kind of come through. Um, Different people are at different viewpoints of this avalanche coming. Most likely, people who are in tune with the bonds market completely could have seen the avalanche come a little bit faster than others. Some people didn't know there was an avalanche quite coming, and some people are going to be waking up tomorrow or Monday and finding out that there was an avalanche kind of scenario. So I just want to be super mindful about that. But do thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. Our market's going to be going down because of the new torpedo crash, or they're talking about should I be selling anything? So I can't give any kind of financial advice because again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a financial analyst. I'm just a guy on YouTube who has been trading stocks for quite some time, has made completely idiotic, stupid mistakes trading stocks, and have learned from those mistakes. And I try my very best to kind of share my thoughts and what I'm looking at. Um, and maybe this can kind of go into a new kind of series or something of like, let's have a trading plan when you enter a stock. So I can't tell you to sell anything out there because I don't know what you have. Like, it would be completely idiotic for me to tell you to hit the panic button and just sell, just whatever they're asking for, you're getting out no matter what. It's that's I wish I could help you there, my friend. The scenario really is that when you enter a trade, you have to have targets to be met, and then your GTFO stop, and then potentially, usually, let's make it basic. The stock's trading at $100, and you want to get out, depending on like a 5 to 7% loss. I wouldn't do more than that because once you start losing more than 7 to 10%, it gets really, really nasty pretty fast. I bought Arc yesterday and already down 3K. What did you buy in Arc, David? Yeah, Arc is definitely they're beaten down quite a bit. Yeah. Yes, David, that's a great way to put it. Arc has some much bigger pockets than you, I, and or anyone else that's currently in the chat here. Unless Kathy Wood is listening. If you're listening, Kathy Wood, I would love an interview, and just have a cup of coffee with you and talking stocks and charts. With Arc again, Arc is pretty much tied to the Nasdaq and the heavy growth stuff. So you're seeing that huge run higher here again, having a amazing run here, and guess what? They broke the 89 EMA as well. Very much more tied to that again. The way ARC's money is funded is not just the ETF they are funding from what stocks they own. Like they're not leveraged to people going in and out of it. That's more the money maker, market maker side of things on the options and stock side. But they're just more compelling to how much money do they have on hand due to how much stocks is down, so forth. They have to kind of allocate their cash very wisely there. Timkins says down 20%, um, cut losses or hold small portfolio. So there's a couple things you can do. Like I want to make this pretty clear here. The first thing is you can just sit in cash. Um, that's a position. You can try to short it. I do terrible at that. I am a horrible short seller. I used to do it at a very small time frame, and I was okay at it. Again, I was maybe getting it right 2 out of 10 times, so 1 out of 5 times getting it right. But the numbers weren't adding up for me. But it's a whole other story. I lesson learned there. Or you can just uh, uh, hold their positions depending on. It's going to be harder to hold positions if you're holding options, because options, what do options have? They have a time decay, they have an expiration date. So there's a very difficult to hold straight calls, or straight puts would be fantastic, and depending on what you're looking at here. But straight calls, especially on the shorter dated side, I am totally not a fan of right now. I will not be trading anything options wise within 60 to 90 days. It's just too risky to seeing these market moves go up and down. Can we get a crazy V-shaped recovery tomorrow? Yes, we can get a bounce. We can get a bounce of maybe 2-3% in the market, but we need to have that momentum continue. It doesn't magically come back. Those are potentially laggers. So this is where I'm just trying to be very clear here. Where like I am not buying anything right now. I'm dipping my toes on a couple things. I was selling a little bit of premium at times. But once I felt a little too risky, I just took it off. I maybe lost a couple shekels, made a couple shekels. It's just not a. I'm maybe trying a little bit starter positions. Like I mean, like fractions of the size that I used to do. So if you're trying to start new positions, let's say you're starting like, hey, I normally buy $1,000 as my starting position on a stock. Okay, so $1,000 basically in the RK fund will basically buy you like what, 8 shares or something like that. So 8 shares, maybe instead of just putting $1,000 into it, cut it down by 50 to 35%, even less than that. So 500 to 250. Like start out smaller, because you, I, anyone else out there in the world has no idea where the bottom is. And I don't want to be the person to try to continuously, with a large amount of capital, putting my hand out there and getting burnt, getting cut, getting hurt, whatever. Like I don't want to be in that whole scenario of that. Does that make sense? IPO is scary right now. Yeah, the SPACs are super scary because again, what SPACs are considered much more speculative plays. Yes, IPOE is going to be turning into SoFi. It is kind of bouncing off here a little bit around that $15 range, which again is the 144 EMA here. So the normally the high growth stocks, the speculative plays, always are the first ones to really sell off even more, because people are taking their cash out of those and then trying to putting it into more, they keyword safer names, um, safe havens, whatever you want to call them, more fortified industries, da 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 da. Because this deal is not even completely announced yet. Um, so that 144 EMA could potentially hold there. Can it? I don't know. If the selling continues, we can easily see 1439 here coming in pretty soon here. With again, heavy kind of volume and just continuous selling. Might be a stupid questions. There's no stupid questions, MJ. Only stupid people. Would it be worth it at this point to buy TMV? I don't even know what TMV is, honestly. Um, see, this is the thing. I don't trade bonds or treasuries in that sense. Like maybe, like I don't know. Like on the technically speaking, they are trying to make a pretty strong kind of comeback here. Um, if we do on the technical side, again, I'm looking here on a weekly side, okay? This is a completely weekly side of the chart here. with bonds, again, interest rates have been super low, yields, treasuries, blah, blah, blah. So this looks like it's a bear ETF. So it's a reverse flip side of this, of the Treasury 20-year note. So it looks like it potentially, of course, does the complete opposite whatever the yield does, or sorry, the Treasury 20-year note yeah, the 20-year Treasury does. Looking at here, so potentially, if it continues running higher, the next level potentially we can looking for is $89. With that highlighting here, this thing is very beat down, and I normally don't like to trade ETFs like this because again, I don't know on how it's comprised and how it works. Maybe Kathy could buy up more IPOE. Does she even own IPOE? Um, does she even own IPOE? Ba-do. Ba-do. Yeah, SOS. Yeah, whatever happened to that? Like, there wasn't there like I saw you post a short report on that. Like, yeah, that thing again. Very much. I think everyone knew like this was a parabolic FOMO breakout, and now we're just kind of seeing it maybe bounce here, kind of hold $6.61. But this is kind of somewhat of a recipe for disaster, potentially to roll over some more here. The tsunami was reached by land by now. What up, OK Beats? I hope you're doing well, my friend. Mm-mm. Did you guys hear that CCIV is going to be merged with Lucid? It's going to be huge. Yeah, what is CCIV doing there, Ben? Yeah. Again, that it hit off the 89 EMA there, so that's interesting at 22-ish range. But yeah, that trend is still kind of continuously cutting us lower here. Papa D, thank you for the $2. I'm averaging down. When do you think the market will pop up? Papa D, I don't know. I cannot. I wish I could tell you that. That would be the $1 trillion question that we're seeing here. We're clearly seeing the Nasdaq being pulled the most, but the Nasdaq, of course, if we're looking at it at a perspective like what we currently are seeing here, from the high basically that happened the 16th of February to the low today was about 11.26%. So we are in somewhat of a correction mode. If we start breaking below that 11 to start breaking into 15 to 20%, that would be considered more of a crash mode, which would be a little scary. That again would be kind of putting in. So it's around, yeah, 15% was around the 200 EMA for the Nasdaq. So I'm not saying we're going to get there. Who knows? I don't have a crystal ball, but we're currently trading on 302-ish right now. If we can continue to see some more selling coming into Friday, and then again, we have a weekend, so people are going to be maybe, who knows what they're going to be pondering about over the weekend to kind of see coming in Monday. So as I said, like, hey, I'm not touching this market right now with a 10-foot pole. Again, it's very much, there's no like high conviction. I'm just throwing in 10K on this stock because I like it. Yes, I own Foxhole Alpaca. I own it. I owned it for quite some time. I think I bought it when it first came out. I saw some of the updates. I read some of the patch notes. I just wish I had more time to game. Honestly, the stock stuff is keeping me busy. Kathy Wood. I think everyone wants Kathy Wood to buy their stock that they're down under right now. Uh, don't show them Clover. Hey Ken, do you have a crystal ball or your predictions for March 19? Yeah, March 19. My predictions. I have no predictions. Again, I cannot tell the future. IPOF is getting kicked. Yeah, IPOF doesn't even have an announcement, correct? So IPOF has not even had anything. Again, this could easily go back to $10. So that's basically where it could be going because that has no announcement. People ran up the stock on potentially trying to get the premium, get the short jump on the stock before it runs up. Like this is the kind of market that we're having, like where people were so I want to use the word bored, but uh so bullish and so risk adverse and just so crazy for speculation of buying something on hoping that the announcement comes out soon so they get the stock can run up. Um, what's the scenario or the theory or something called where if everyone's thinking the same thing, it's always a bad idea or it doesn't end well or something like that. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's when the philosophy where if everyone's thinking the same thing, you're no longer the outlier or you're no longer the have the edge in whatever you're trying to do. And it's just like best to move on, and that's basically what we're seeing with a lot of these very high growth or not even high growth, this very hopes and dreams kind of speculative plays. AMD, yeah, we can look at AMD. Yeah, AMD has not been fun. I had to cut some of that. It broke past some of my support levels. AMD, again, if everyone knows, has been a very long time holding for me. I had to take some chips off the table because I have a trading plan and I had to abide by it, and it broke the 144 EMA here. Initially, I wasn't perfect. I actually had the rule to kind of hold the 89. I took a little bit off, but I should have taken more of it off. But then I done messed up because I am human, and I took not majority. I took a little over half of it off at this point, which I should have taken it off at that point. But you live and you learn, right? And it was a mistakey stake. Um, Looking at this now, it's kind of bouncing on that 200 EMA here. Where we could see this potentially be going, it's kind of that 200 EMA breaks that we're going to be looking at a longer dated chart, and we're going to be potentially looking for around $73. It's going to be the next kind of moving averages that we could see kind of break through here. We are having a squeeze setting up here, and the falling of the RSI, of course, the relative strength is really kind of dipping lower. And if we do get which we already have the 5 crossing through on the weekly chart, we're looking at the weekly chart. We get the 5 and 8 to cross through here. That could easily kind of bring this lower here. We haven't seen this kind of aggressive movement in quite some time, especially with the 5 and 8 crossing through it. Because again, the 5 and 8 have not crossed through AMD for quite some time. They really didn't cross through until that October, November of 18. And that's when we saw that pretty large pull in that previous time frame there. What's my favorite stock as of right now? My favorite stock right now is cash. My long-term holdings, again, I've been a long-term investor in Tesla, AMD, and so forth. But those are my favorite stocks. But they're all getting substantially hurt. Like right now, like seeing your beloved Tesla at 900 and now it's at 600. It's not fun. Um, but what's my favorite stock right now? I don't know if it's my favorite stock, but there's a lot of stocks that are kind of doing a little better than others. One that I'm kind of looking at is GM. Like GM is holding up pretty good here. Again, it doesn't even look like there's a market correction for GM. It's just kind of holding that 34 and even to the 50-day here. Apps was one that I was holding here for a little bit. That is still looking pretty well here. It is holding that 34 EMA as well here. Again, I'm not telling you to buy these and put $10 million into these. But these are some holdings that I've had in the short term that are kind of doing okay. And then in mode, I own as well. This has kind of been, again, pulling back to that 34 EMA. And this is basically more of a, I think, more of a reopen play and people seeing each other again. This is a plastic surgery company that does really fantastic work. Tell us about the best dip buys. I don't think there's a dip buy right now for me to do, honestly. Like I said, if you join the Discord, I am literally saying I am sitting on my hands, and I'm trying my best not to do anything. I'm waiting for things to kind of cool off a little bit. Things really, this is not Max Payne yet. Again, what we mean by Max Payne is not that fantastic video game, um, but where most people are not the people who are feeling the pain right now are people who are very aggressive in the stock market, who watch it an hourly or minute basis. The people who are the mom and pops, my parents, and other folks like that, they don't know what's wrong in the market yet. That news has to kind of trickle through all these different categories of folks to kind of really get that completely flush out mode. We don't know if um, um, Ed and Dorsey down the street, who are retiring in 2 years, that had a lot of money in Tesla or Nasdaq or whatever, want to get out of it. Like there's a lot of things that the waves have to kind of go through the whole cycle of the known universe to kind of really kind of wash our hands, and that could take some time. Again, that could take a lot of time, especially with not just this being like a normal buy the dip bro kind that we saw previously. This is, again, really much driven by the fear of inflation and the bond market. Anyone missed the Trump bumps? We were joking bets in the chat of people of like what Trump would have done in this kind of scenario. He would have called up Powell and just said, "You better have a great effing speech to kind of get these markets going up here." When should we buy cryptos? I'm not the most intelligent person about cryptos, um, and really the best understanding of that. Um, Jared, I know it hurts. You're buying more tomorrow. Again, I think, Jared, you're an intelligent person in the sense of like, you know that I hope you're allocating your cash somewhat more conservatively, of just not like, I'm going to put 25% of my capital into. But again, if you put 25% of your capital, you're only going to be able to do that for like 4 times, right? You're not going to be able to do more than that. So um, I would do like 5 to 10. Like that's my opinion on how people would look at it, even less than that. Um, um, Wesley, thoughts on Tesla? How it's what's up, Wesley? Um, ER. So Tesla, of course, this was a pretty insane one because we had Ron Barron, who's been a large Tesla shareholder, selling of his position, but he was selling the position not to be like, "Hey, f Tesla, it's a POS company, I'm getting out of it." He's a hedge fund manager. He runs a portfolio. So if Tesla becomes too large in your portfolio, you you're tied and you're taking too much risk. So it's basically like, hey Ken, you have 37% of your portfolio in Tesla. If Tesla goes down, your whole portfolio is done. Like it's basically the first rule of investing and longer term investing is don't lose money. And with Tesla, you don't want any, again, this is the way the textbooks kind of teach you market and portfolio investing. no position should be larger than like 10%. Not even like 10% even come near it. That's a very aggressive basis there. You could have a couple that could be 10% if you have a good base in them and you've been trading, you've been investing in them for years and years, so you have a good cost basis. But starting a brand new position, just putting in 10% of the portfolio is not well advised. So speaking of the Tesla here, of course, looking here on the daily chart here, um, we hit that $900 range, and well, guess what? It just kind of been trickling lower and lower and lower and lower. Um, Again, it is tied to the S&P 500, so it's no longer trading like a honey badger stock where it's going to be very aggressively tied to the S&P 500. So if the S&P 500 is going lower and tech's going lower, guess what? It's going to take down Tesla with it. I don't think anything has fundamentally changed over there. I just think people's perspective on Tesla has changed a little bit because they're like, oh, Tesla would always rally and kind of bounce back, but now it has a collar on it. This is no longer a free roaming kind of dog anymore. It has a collar. It has been vaccinated. It has been fixed. Tesla is very much tied to the S&P 500 now. This is no longer the same Tesla that we had a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago compared to before it was added in December. At that same note here, we're going to be looking for some initial support coming in around 583. That $600 range kind of hit off today, but again, if the selling continues, we can easily see that 583 range potentially be tested there. So be super mindful about that, Wesley. Um, NRG has done well. They have got hammered with the weather. Yeah, NRG's been doing pretty good. Well, hasn't it been Alpaca? Like NRG, PLTR. Again, energy overall. So this is a good way. Let's look at it this way. Okay, so look at this. But like okay, so this is the market, the S&P 500. Okay, what do you see green? This little section down here. Like this is the green section right over here. That's the only thing that was green today. Because again, energy offers a dividend. What else is kind of somewhat green? Some of the which Google's just getting a big thumbs up because they're saying they're not letting people track outside of the domains and things like that. So everyone's like, "Oh, we love Google now because they're trying to do the right thing." Sure, whatever, cool with that. And then at the same time, you're seeing some of the health stuff. You have UNH, which is United Healthcare, CVS, Anthem, Humana, and things like that. The healthcare, that small section of kind of moving up a little bit today again. But the most biggest case was just energy. Energy was very much moving a little bit higher. And at the same time, we're seeing just a little bit of consumer staples coming in here. So again, that's going to be your Mondelez, your canned food kind of companies. Again, that pay somewhat of a dividend, somewhat of a safe haven. But everything else has just been completely red here. We can break it down into like, here's the energy, like that's fantastic. Industrials kind of hit and miss. GE's popping off because they're just kind of making a comeback. Waste management, everyone's gonna need their trash. Information and technology, completely red. What is this green thing here? I don't even know if that was okay. Materials, kind of the same thing, kind of red being beat down here, but that's just kind of like the scenarios that we're like kind of looking at here, kind of giving the bigger picture of what's kind of going on here. I got 10x leverage into GM. Boomer stock to go to the moon. God bless you. Yeah, GME is still, they got some diamond hands in there. Yeah, tomorrow's going to be lights of fun. Yeah, with 100%. Like, it's, you got to be ready for anything in this market. So, just put your helmets on, as they say. Like, what is, you gotta buckle up here. So buckling up here is it's definitely going to be some rough waters ahead. Let's see here. Um, Thank you for being here. Thoughts on Baba? Yeah, look at Baba. Alibaba, of course, pretty much same kind of scenario here. Of course, really selling off here as well with the overall market here. What we're looking for here, these patterns are very aggressive downward trends. So you're seeing the 5 and 8 moving averages really just point down at a very steep angle, basically just making a downhill slope kind of scenario where if you're the skier on here, this is your skis. This is again, I'm a fantastic there's my skis here and there's my poles for my skis. The handles up here, and you're going down this hill. This hill's not stopping anytime soon. Could we get like a V-shaped recovery off the $227? Maybe, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to be the first one to kind of check that. Honestly, I don't want to be the test pilot or the person in the alpha test to take that mystery meat or test the mystery pill that I have no idea what could happen here. Um, we've seen that level be of support before, but that was under different circumstances. The circumstances here are now just everyone's just selling because of the bond fund or the bond higher yields are coming in, and people are just freaking out about that. So we could potentially see a floor support around 227. But that doesn't hold. We can easily see it capitulate lower to 220 to even back down to $210. Mm-mm. Ben says, thinking ahead with the new administration, what sectors should flourish in 2021? Green power, EV. That's what I think too, Ben. Like I think more or less being just a little bit more generic industries. I mean the industrials. Like I think we're going to spend a lot of money on redoing our bridges and stuff like that, and building, improving roads, whatever, all these kind of things. I think it's going to be flourishing, and definitely green energies. Yeah, Facebook is undervalued. Yeah, Facebook has been very much kind of chippy choppy here as well. This thing has just been really much just kind of been very much off the beaten path with normal stocks that are in its section. We've never really seen that $300 come back here. That was really getting overhead with these drawings here. But with Facebook, we're really looking for that 200 EMA here. So we saw it hit once, and now we're kind of been hitting it multiple times, which is kind of not the best scenario here. So if we're lingering around the door here of 200, that doesn't mean that it could, again, and initially it could mean that we could get a bounce here. But then we have some pretty strong overhead resistance coming in around 270 to 265 above Facebook. If we look at here on a weekly chart, it does not look very pretty on Facebook on a weekly chart. We have a squeeze setting up here. A lot of things are kind of getting lower here. So I want to look at this scenario on the Fibonacci tree here. So if we are not going to be holding that 250-ish range, we're going to break here and potentially hit 240 to 235 would be the next level to see if Facebook breaks to the downside here, which I kind of might like here. I'm not gonna lie with you. Like, I we'll see. We'll see. I actually want to write that idea down. I write a lot of ideas down in my books. I always have pen and paper everywhere. My notepads, a notepad behind me. I'm just writing ideas down. I remember this quarter over here is when I made nearly a lot of money on that short, but that was a stupid call. But anyways, but James, what is yeah? Everyone benefits from green energy. Don't you want space lasers and alpaca? Of course, we want space guns. Thoughts on SQ? Yeah, we can look at SQs. It's square. Let me go over here. Yeah, this one had kind of like a mixed bag quarter as well. So again, that mixed bag. Good night, Alan. See you tomorrow, my friend. Um, with the SQ here again is beaten down here. SQ is holding up a little bit better. We have that one, we have the two, and then kind of the three. It did kind of the three here, doing question marks, question mark, question mark, to potentially see if that does hold the 89 EMA. But with the market really pushing us lower here, I think we could easily see that 144 EMA be tested here, which is be around that 197 to 200. Again, I would love for it to hold up here, but it looks like even after hours trading, it's below at 210. So the next level would be try to get to around that support there, that bounce. James D says thoughts on INSG. That's a falling knife, man. I don't want to touch this. I have no idea what this company does, but that's just too much downward pressure for me there. I want to stay away from Chinese stocks and can't trust Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, I forget they call it Winnie the Pooh. Love the samples of the avalanche and Tesla has to raise shots. You're welcome, Boris. Jeff is asking for PLTR. Yeah, PLTR is somewhat holding up here, but we talked about PLTR towards the beginning of the stream here. So looking with PLTR, we saw that level here 1, we saw level 2, and then kind of level 3 here. But if that $22.69 does not hold, we can see easily come into around that $21 to $20 range for with the old PLTR. Of course, a lot of people are liking this one because it's a little bit more of a speculative bet, which I don't honestly think people know what the hell they do, honestly. I think people are just buying it because Cathie Wood's buying it, and it's just like a mysterious kind of company. Yeah, Facebook's been trading sideways a lot like Amazon, yeah. Anyone following SKT? Yeah, this one, again, this was a short squeeze as well. This was a continues to kind of rocket higher here. The pattern actually looks pretty good here. Again, this is considered the honey badger kind of stock. So this is something that is an outlier. This is, you look at this chart, you're like, I have no idea what's going on in the overall market. This is just kind of just blah, and it's doing its own thing. Again, I know the short float's pretty high in this one, Ben, if I remember correctly. The 21 EMA has been a very strong tell here. Right now, we're seeing the 5 and 8 really kind of take over here and kind of pop higher here. But this very aggressive downward candle here, we've not really got able to close above that $20 range. We've tested it multiple times. We've pierced it, but we never closed above it. So that's going to be a tell there as well. But initially speaking, we have some short-term support around the 1640-ish range to even the 1535 range to potentially to hold. If that does not hold, we're going to potentially see 1450 and even below to around 13-ish range. HG says, what do you think about AMD? Yeah, HG, we did AMD. I think it's going to be, if it doesn't level off here around the 200 EMA, I think it can easily go much lower here. Charlie seconds of PDCE. What is that? Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, very much wonderful trend here. A little bit escalated from the 21 EMA. I don't know why this particular stock is up so much. Looking here on the weekly side, looks like he had an energy kind of base stock here. It just has something to do with like the Texas outages here. Initially speaking, we do have some potential resistance coming in around 42.63. And how I got that number was from the swing high to swing low on the Fibonacci tree on the weekly side. Patrick, I don't know Rolls Royce's ticker symbol. Alpaca says MNDF. Yeah, that thing traded a little bit lower today, didn't it? But nothing too crazy. It's still, it broke past the 3-ish range, which was initially where I got into it. This one is not a major holding for me, Alpaca, and it's considered a longer term hold because again, the only way I was able to buy it was in my longer term account because again, Tastywork doesn't have it. But it came down exactly to the 89 EMA here, so that is going to be initial support around 273 to 275 there, Alpaca. And made my own sound effects. I just hope everyone is getting fresh air and staying happy and healthy. It's healthy for all of us, really. Yeah, Jared. I don't know if you're in the Discord. I literally took a walk. I was like, the market's about to crash. I'm just gonna go take a walk and just listen to some good music outside in the fresh air. 0 to 101. Can you do TXM? Thanks. TXN or MN? Yeah, Texas Instruments. Okay. Yeah, very much. Again, look at this pattern here. Again, we're seeing this trend break here. So again, the 89 EMA, we're closing below it. The thing is here too is that we are seeing a little bit of support coming in around this Fibonacci number here. Let me look here on the weekly side. Yeah, so that is the 21 EMA on the weekly side. So that's 163 to 160s range. If that doesn't hold, we can easily come back down to breaking 160 to like the 155 to 156, even down to 147. Because again, this has been a pretty monstrous run that we're seeing here with a lot of these stocks. Exactly, David. It's the master controller of the internet. Different baits. Costco, please, Ken. Yeah, thank you for your manners. Yeah, Costco's been hurting the old, hurting my back here lately. Even though, even after I was trading, they're doing great things at Costco. Costco is a long-term hold for me. My cost basis is like well below 100. It's just a long-term hold for me. So, and just collecting the dividend here, and just really, it does suck. Just don't get me wrong. This is a terrible kind of move here with Costco. Again, what's going on here is just people getting out of Costco. It could be because they're giving their employees more money, whatever reasons. I think that's kind of somewhat idiotic on that part, but yes, I understand it's a business. But in the sense of treating their employees with respect, like what other store has some of the best staff that I've ever seen? Costco. Initially speaking, if we continue selling off, you see I have an alert here around 309 to 310 that potentially kind of hold this level. If that does not hold, we're going to be saying hello to 290 here. So 290 is potentially a level that we could see if it continues to drag with the market here. Exactly, Raj. We have the jobs report at 8:30 tomorrow. Yeah, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Alpaca F. Yeah, Ford. Love me some Ford as well. Ford, GM. Sadly, they're innovating a lot better than other EV companies. And the trend is still trying to go higher here. Look at it again. We have some short-term support coming in around 1165 to 1143. But with some longer dated targets still trying to reach up here to around 1350 to 1348. Patrick says Rolls Royce. Okay, thank you for that one. That's the RYCE. Again, this was a short squeeze as well, right? This is not loading for me there. That Rolls Royce is not loading for me there, Patrick. 1,700 shares of SNDL at another. What do you, is there hope? So SNDL, this was very much driven on by parabolic move here. I'm just really seeing this kind of aggressively pulled up here. Once that broke, again, that 5 and 8 moving averages, it came down to the 21. Now it's down to the 34. Now it's at the 55. It has earnings coming out soon. If it holds above $1, I think it could maybe hold a trend. But going into earnings and more selling going on, being a very heavily speculated name, if it starts breaking $1, we could easily see 90 cents to 80 cents again. 170 was basically we kind of put it up way up here. Very much again, I would recommend to look at a trading plan in the sense of when to get out on a particular trade if it does get back against you that much. Um, how about MPs? Asks David. Also, are you still holding this one? Yeah, I still hold MP. I did again. I had to stop, or I had to sell a little bit. Um, no, actually, I added this one. I think. Hang on. I added the MP. Oh, I had an order. I think I'm again. This is a. Let me see here. Yeah, I didn't add. It was again that was one of my smaller positions. I only added about 25 shares. I had an alert at 34 EMA, so I filled at around $38 for 25 shares. Again, that was my position, and this one is less than 100, or now it's a little over 100 shares now. Because again, I initially thought I had 100. Now I just added 25 to it. But this one is again not really moving with the overall market, David. Again, it's still holding the 21 EMA. It's holding that 34 EMA. It's the parabolic SAR dots are still there, technically speaking. If it does want to sink lower here, it really needs to break below 35 for me to start trimming my holdings and taking profit off the table. Because I've been in this one for a little bit, I believe around the 25 or what my basis was on this one. But I do like it. But we do have earnings coming out here fairly soon, though. So I want to be mindful about that. Oh, shoot. My thing just updated. Ken says Tupac or Biggie. I'm going to go with Biggie. Um, Charlie's asking for CLOV. Yeah, that one. This is a falling knife here, and I do not know where the bottom is in this. This is just continuously going lower here. Trevor is saying, I love walking the dog yeah, you have to get fresh air. You have to realize, because when I was just walking and listening to my music and just trying not to think about the market and things like that, and just reacting to people trying to help them, people reaching out like, hey, I just lost 50K. I started out with 100K this year, and now I'm down to 15K, and like trying to help people understand, and like it's everyone kind of goes through these scenarios, and it's not easy having those conversations with people. But just hoping that people do realize and kind of potentially grow from this mistake, and maybe potentially try to come back. Some people never come back. Some people are just saying throw in the towel and they'll never trade the market again. Um, it's very difficult. But while you're walking down the street listening to music, the the UPS guy came by, dropped off my pizza oven, which my brother ordered for me for Christmas, and it finally just kind of came in. So I had my pizza oven, and the guy had like he seemed completely happy. He has no idea the market's crashing or whatever. Like he doesn't know that UPS is down, how much UPS has been beaten up, or actually it wasn't that much beaten up, but it was down a little bit, just kind of been dragging here, with UPS pretty much poised here, but with the overall other market just going down here. Um, Yeah, Snow had gone up on earnings. Think it will continue. Yeah, Snow is an interesting one. Snow has a lot of backing from investors, um, but it's very choppy here. It's not a very nice continuously trending up or down. It's just super chop mode, basically from 320 to like 240. It's just been chop, 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 chop. It's just nothing. There's no direct trend here to kind of help me kind of follow this. It's RYCEY. Oh, Rolls Royce. Yeah. This is not my cup of tea here as well. Very much penny stock. I don't know. Like I can't honestly give too much about this one, Patrick. Yeah, Costco's not going anywhere. Yeah, Costco is definitely my favorite business. Yes, love it, love it, love it, love it. Um, yeah, this one, of course, is MGNA. Very much a stock that was really poised for continuously growth, getting a lot of not promise, but like but it was kind of put on a pedestal a lot of times. But guess what? When growth in the bond market comes in, this is what you get. You have the 5 and 8 cutting through the 21 EMA. It's trying to find some kind of support here around 40, which is the 50 SMA here. Again, this is not as terrible as some other stocks. If this does not hold and kind of start leveling off here around 40-ish range, we can easily see that 35 range potentially kind of come in here for MGNAI. Um, David's asking, a GSAT had good earnings and pre-market was up but went down today. Adding to a dollar stock eases the pain. There, yeah. I saw. I think was you and Ryan talking about this one earlier. Yeah, this is again kind of somewhat the FOMO kind of kicking in here. Um, could be slightly trending lower here. We're going to be looking for some initial support here around $1.20 to potentially $1.30 here, and maybe get some sideways pattern here. Since the moving averages are slightly not as aggressively pulling back here, like most moving averages are pointing down pretty aggressively like this. Well, this is slightly less aggressive here, but it's still pointing down. So we're going to be looking for those potentially EMAs to kind of show us some kind of level of resistance on the way down. Peek at FUV and Lemonade. Yeah, sure, Jared. FUV, of course, I think David, you talked about this. We talked about this one this morning. Same kind of scenario here. A little bit more aggressive on the selling coming in here. We do have some support here around $15.70, basically twice, and that was a previous pretty strong line of resistance. So if this does not hold around that 1570, what are we going to be looking for? Some initial support is basically the 144 EMA at $14.15, or even stronger support would be coming in around the 200 EMA around $12 to $11.50 ish range there. Because again, those moving averages are still pretty aggressively pointing down. You have those parabolic SAR dots also continuously kind of pushing the trend lower there. And then Lemonade, yeah, they just had earnings, right? Yeah, that is not a pretty sight here. You saw it try to hold. This is where you want to like. This is kind of can create a faking out pattern. So it was trying to hold this the 55 EMA here and that Fibonacci number around 128 130, but once it started to break here and actually gap down, that's never fun to be a part of that, and it just continued to go lower the last 3 days. Looking for again that 200 EMA, potentially try to catch the fall here around 96, but that is a very aggressive fast falling knife here that could potentially cut through the 200 EMA and even get the back down to 85 or $76 here. Mm-hmm. Do, 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 do. Um, looking forward to the expanded. No, sorry, the tuning out. Just found the channel. Good stuff. Thank you, my friend. Try RR for Rolls Royce. I just did it. Yeah, thank you. That's their goal. Looking to forward. Trying to. Um, thank you, Wesley. Yeah, risk management, 100%. Sorry, I'm kind of catching up things. Life is good. We have a. Okay, looks like other people are chatting here. It's not that bad. I'm a driver for UPS. James is awesome. Like well, I offer him water and everything. Like I offer him granola bars or whatever. I'm like, he always seems super happy, James. Like, you hope you're happy as well. Mm-mm. Let's see here. Boris is. Have you looked at Rocket already? If not, could you please? Yeah, sure. And again, I appreciate the manners, ladies and gentlemen. Rocket that had that rocket day just for a very short period of time because of again that the run up, the Wall Street bets pump, whatever you want to call it, that kind of lifted the tide here. Initially, this stock should be trading around $25 to $23, and it's kind of where it's coming into. Um, that's like the fair market value of the stock, but it really messes things up, which you can see with GME still when you get these insane amount of scenarios where people just kind of come in and they think they know what they're doing and they just put their hands up and just like, oh, this is easy mode. I just buy stocks with Wall Street bets and it just goes up. But there's always damage being said here because again, people who bought this now it's on the way down selling here. So again, initially speaking, we have some support around that 25.96 to $26 here, but that is something to look out for. If that continues going lower here and fills that gap, which I think it could be going back down to 24. Interesting in the market doesn't guarantee profits. Invest at your own risk. Yes, exactly. There is no guaranteed in this game. ZOM question mark. I don't know. Are you ZOM question mark? Um, yeah, this one is also I don't familiar with this company, but I've seen this one quite a bit here on people requesting this one. Very light volume. It's actually pretty interesting with this chart here. It is holding the 21 to 34 EMA, so really again the short term it holds above a buck 68. Looks just fine. Um, welcome, welcome. FUTV, yeah, that one just took a beating as well. Really kind of came back here. With that again, very aggressive move up, and guess what? It's been a staircase up, which is what people mean by staircase up is basically kind of just goes like this, lack of a better word, staircase up. But once you get into that penthouse sweep, the penthouse sweep, it could be an elevator down. Um, an elevator down would be more like this, but um, we're seeing that kind of potentially try to hold that 130 range here. But if that doesn't continue, that doesn't hold, where it could potentially fill this gap here, and even go down to the 100 to 105 range. Again, being mindful, we do have earnings coming out fairly soon for this one. Again, a lot of people don't like this one because again, it's somewhat of a Chinese. It is not. It is a Chinese based stock. Charlie says Tesla call spreads 2 months out. What do you think? Also, what do you think of all the answers? Very helpful and appreciated. Also, thank you for the yeah. Charlie. So I don't want to touch anything that's it has to be at least 6 months out for me right now, Charlie. I'm tightening up everything. I'm putting a lot of more aggressive rules on my trades. It just not. It's just now. I have to. It has to be longer dated for me right now. David says, you need to buy the book, The Elements of Pizza, Unlock the Secrets of World-Class Pies at Home. All right, I'm going to click on that one. Is this on Amazon? Ooh, this looks damn good. Ooh, this looks good. Oh, I got to get the hardcover. Oh yeah. I will order that. Thank you, David. I'm adding it to the list. Add it to the list. Who knows? One day, I'll get the pizza up and running, and we'll have a nice live stream outside. Right? That'd be cool, right? Nice, relaxing Friday evening, drinking some. I don't know. I don't really drink alcohol, but I love my mineral water, so I might drink some mineral water and having some pizzas with you boys and girls. Um, Rednon is asking for T. Is that AT&T? Yeah, this again, AT&T hasn't been doing much of anything. This is again a company that it pays a really good dividend. And a lot of people are just in it for the dividend. But like, look at this thing this has been trading below the 200 EMA forever for the last year or so, ever since. But this thing could maybe get some life back into it again to be somewhat of a safe haven because of it pays a fairly healthy dividend. But it's really, again, on the stock here, it's just been chop here, and it really needs to break above 30 to kind of see any kind of movement. But I don't expect anything fantastic out of AT&T. So still up over 100%, LOL. Gains were too fast for LMDM. Yeah, LMDM is insane. Yo, just a GWRG, your thoughts? GWRE. I'm not familiar with this company because I don't have any lines on this, so I've never seen this before. But as you can see here, it kind of has potentially. Let me do a fib here. Yeah, I was going to potentially show a line here around that 50% retracement, which is basically right here. So 105 to 102 could be potential level resistance. As of right now, we're seeing that pretty aggressive selling kind of come in here again with the overall market. Could be continuously kind of pushing us lower here. So if we do get a bounce tomorrow, potentially, maybe the 210 can hold, but it looks like it just had earnings, right? So that 100 to 102 to 105 could potentially hold, but it looks like in after hours trading, it's a little bit kind of mixed here. So we could again look for that 102 to potentially try to hold for some levels of resistance here. But again, if the thing wants to continue going lower, it's going to continue going lower, my friend. Nicholas says, "Ken balls deep in GameStop." Remember? God bless you, Nick. Yeah, I hope you're doing well. I like pizza too. Yes, I do. I am. Thank you, sir. Thank you for all your consumer. You're welcome. I'm spoiled. I live in Brooklyn. I have a dozen pizza places to die for. By far, really, it's Dom. No longer. The pizza is not that good. Yeah, you do love. Yeah, the pizza. I would be probably 2 times the size if I had pizza that close to me. Which I do have a pretty good pizzeria that's right down the street. But it's not like I can walk there, but you don't want to walk like I don't know, it's like a mile maybe, and then you get home and your pizza's cold kind of scenario. You know what I'm saying? I just bought the pizza book. Thanks, David. We do homemade pizzas quite often. Never once follow the recipe. Really? Outside live stream for the win? Yes, we should do that. Um, yeah, I can't admit it. That seems really cold up there. Are you a full time trader? No, I am not a full time trader. I work as a IT director. How about Buzz? Lol. Buzz. That is the Dave Portnoy fund, right? I don't think people understand this one. It's an algorithm that picks stocks that people talk about it on the social media and other various forums. Good. God bless them. I hope they do well. Ben, thank you for the $5, my friend. Buddies and Pizza will appreciate. What do you think, Ken? Bubbly and pizzas. All we all we appreciate is that you do, Ken. Thank you. I appreciate that, Ben. You know I love my pizza. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward for the substantially warmer weather coming through. Looks like the Nasdaq's kind of pulling back here a little bit as we were streaming here this evening. Again, it was down well over 100 points, and now we're only down 23. So that's, again, we're not breaking into. Let's go into a smaller time frame here. Into these levels here. So I'm not going to be saying go out there and just put your whole account in this, but like we talked about, like we could get these very short term bounces here. In still in the lieu of everything, that market move is still pretty aggressively going down. Like we said, we could maybe let me do this better on QQQ actually, so we can kind of get a better understanding. People don't like those large numbers on the Nasdaq. So we are potentially looking at for that level of support around 303. That would be fantastic, to be quite honest, to kind of hold here again to stop the bleeding overall. Maybe kind of create some kind of base here. By a base, I mean it needs to kind of trade sideways for a little bit around that 300 to 303 range. I would be completely happy with that because I do not want it to. Well, it could touch down here, but it needs to come back pretty fast here. In the sense of just trying to keep things kosher, as they say. So 303, if it can hold here, I think everyone's most likely going to be a happy camper here. In the sense of trying to find a bottom. Again, I use that term very loosely because I don't know what the bottom could be. We could be trading sideways here for Friday into some of next week, and then something comes out and we just take another poopy lower here. So it doesn't. I the biggest thing I want to compel and tell folks is I do not want to kind of catch and play the falling knife here. I would rather look at let's do a better form here. So let's look at um, a daily 10-year chart. Okay, so this is the QQQ for the last 10 years. Okay, and how many times have we broken past the 89 EMA? Okay, so there's been a couple times. Like of course, the time of last year, this time we had that very enormous market pullback due to that heavy kind of going through. David, good night, my friend. Thank you for coming out. I'll see you tomorrow. Um, of course, we saw that 89 EMA break. Then we had some of that bounce higher, but then another push lower. So, not saying that we're going to have a crash like we had back in last year. But I think that people are somewhat tied to of like, hey, are we crashing like we did last year around this time? Or is this like a normal crash that we just had or correction? And then multiple other times you can see here again, this is basically the 2018 to 2019. We hit the 200 EMA a couple times here and just really broke past it pretty aggressively here. And this really traded lower over months again. Not saying that this things just turn around like that, but there are signs that we could see some chop, chop, chop. And as of right now, the way I see it and the way I dictate it via my charts is just continuously seeing some chop, even though we could get some upward movements on a day-to-day basis. Um, I'm not going to be betting either way. I'm very happy just sitting on cash and just nibbling at things potentially to try to see on how they play out. But I'm not going to be creating new, larger positions as of right now with this market that it's currently sitting at. Andrea says Coinbase still hasn't given me my 500 bucks offered for my 5K purchase. I'm not sure if they'll ever see that. Ben's asking, can you please take a look at STOR? I've been holding it for years and with every little action. I don't even know that one. Holding it for years? Wow. Okay, so it went from 40 all the way down to the 13. Holy moly. So looking here on the weekly chart, because again, you said you've been holding it for years, so we're gonna have to look at it at a larger time frame here. With that low from 40 to 13 with those Fibonacci sequences, we are seeing some initial levels of resistance coming in here around the $34.98. Let's just call it $35 to potentially try to break out here. That's going to be creating your overhead resistance. And then to the downside, it has been holding that 21 EMA pretty well here, so we're going to be looking at some support around $31 to the downside there, Ben, to potentially just see if that could potentially kind of hold any kind of further selling going through. To the Nasdaq on the weekly chart as well. There's been a couple times where it has broken past the 21 EMA in recent memory. We talked about this here again. This is again in 2019, even though it had another monstrous run going into the end of 2 years ago into 19 into 2020. But then, of course, we had that blah kind of going in there. What do you think about STT in long term? Same street. I don't know this one stock very well, but it doesn't look, it looks super choppy here, even before the pandemic. Looks like it has a lot of overhead resistance around $84.27, and even that $76 range has been has broken out before, but it really has not get that significant motion in the ocean, as they say. Very much choppy, but it is slightly trying to grind higher here with this chart here, but it's a little too choppy for me, but not really much we can add to it in the sense of, again, potentially some short-term resistance around $76 and then back down to 70 for resistance. Kev T, what's up, my friend? Hey, Ken, very rough week indeed. Yes, it has. Is that TGIF? Is that Tattoo Chef? TGI, did I say this right? TG, huh? What is this one? Yeah, that is good night, Jared. Yeah, this looks it's potentially going to be trying to bounce off the 89 EMA here around 103. And if that doesn't hold, we could see some potentially selling going here. LOL, no. What do you mean no? Steven is asking, hey Ken, can we do BFT just before I head out? Where are you heading out to? BFT. This is again, yeah, BFT. Yeah, that has really got. I don't know what this company is. Like a SPAC or something. Yeah, it's a SPAC. The SPACs are really getting sold pretty heavily here. It tried to find some support around 14-ish range. Again, I'm not familiar with this particular SPAC or this blank check company, but it does have some initial support around $13.36. If that don't hold, we can easily come down to 200 EMA. So I don't know if this is a SPAC that has already been announced or not. No. Charlie, my dad has been in STT for about like 12 years. It doesn't really know the market well. I've been trying to find out where it will be going. Yeah, it's been very much kind of been going out there. Um, PaySafe. I don't know what PaySafe is. Okay. Well, so it has an earn. It already has a. Is the deal already like signed and completely what's it called? Fully vetted and not. I don't think specs are completely vetted, honestly, but fully signed and everything. Like it's a done deal. Yeah, Cummings is yeah. Yeah, this is one that GT has just been continuously grinding higher here. Again, hitting an all-time high today. How many stocks could you say that hit an all-time high today? um, the met of kind of pulling to these very high escalated levels, hitting an all-time high today, but then coming right back down. In the short term, I would like to potentially buy this around 250 ish range potentially. If it comes down to these levels, that would be the very aggressive kind of buying there. But this trend looks pretty decent here. If the whole market does take it lower, which I think it does, I think it could easily come down. Oh, Wall Street Bets loves this. Really good for them. They actually picked somewhat of a decent stock. LO Ken. No, I meant thank God it's Friday. Okay, I always get those acronyms mixed up, Kev. You can write all those. Yeah. Were SPACs even a thing last year? They were a thing last year, Ben. So a lot of people don't even know this. Like, DraftKings, it was a SPAC. Um, Space. Oh, Space Virgin Galactic was a SPAC. These were all SPACs that came out and about. So of course, with Space, I bought into Space basically at the like $10 range. This is like right when I started figuring out what SPACs were, and then I rode it all the way up to like $30, and I got out, and I was like, "Holy moly, guacamole! How high can this go?" And then of course I had that blow off top, and now again, then I just kind of got back into it around that $16 range, and then sold back out at $30 like a noob. Um, but I did not suspect this large move higher here like we saw. But again, with Space, this thing is coming down pretty aggressively here. Looking for the 144 EMA, aka that $30 range, which I've sold it twice at that range, coming back down very aggressively here. Whew, all right, ladies and gentlemen. On that note, I hope everyone has a fantastic evening. Please, thank you again for coming and stopping by here. I do would love to see you. If you have any continuous comments or questions, please join the Discord. I will copy a link right now and I'll put it in the chat here if you want to join the Discord completely free. Check out the channel that we normally do the larger conversations and have a lot of fun in is basically the trading live market under the trading categories. Um, Feel free to come on by, say hello, and just have us some little bit of chit chat. So, um, again, guys, thank you so very much. I hope everyone has a fantastic evening and a hopefully a better trading day tomorrow. And we'll definitely do a live stream on Sunday at 9:30, and then I'll be looking at some video ideas I potentially want to do to kind of educate some more folks on um, the stock market overall. So if you have any comments, questions, please join the Discord. comment on the videos, whatever. But again, thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone. Please be safe out there. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace. Oh, NIO. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna end it. Not yet. Kumar, what's up, my friend? NIO. Yeah, we can do NIO real fast. NIO. So that is, yeah, NIO is, that one's bleeding there, Kumar. This one is coming down to around the $40 range, which is coming into which is the 144 EMA here. But look at this very aggressive momentum between the 5 and 8 moving averages. So those are really going to be looking at some, it's going to be very hard to kind of catch this very aggressive and very steep falling knife. So $40 is potentially the level that it could hold, but if it continues to sell, we could see it down to $35. And hopefully you were able to get that, Kumar. Let's see, I'll ping you real fast. Encore. Ben. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? Going once, going twice. I couldn't let my boy Kumar not get his answer for NIO. So NIO, yeah, looking for potentially 35. Looks like in after hours trading was trading much lower here. But yeah, not a pretty stock again. This again was a insane growth stock, but now it's really kind of coming back down here pretty aggressively. CMR Morgan Stanley Consumer Index. It's not loading for me there, man. Sorry. Johnny is asking for, is that Workhorse? What's WRKS? Why are none of these loading? They're not work. So Workhorse, which as far as no one has asked about that. This one at Grand is what is going on at Workhorse, right? I know Kathy was announcing that she bought some of this, potentially a support here around $13. If $13 breaks, we could easily see $12.50 to $11 there. Hey, good man, did you do Snap? I did not. Actually, that's actually one stock I kind of like here. That's been actually doing substantially well compared to some of the other social media plays here. It is coming down to the 50 SMA here, pretty hard here. If we do see continuously selling, like most stocks, it's going to be breaking past the 50-day. That would potentially be coming into around the 89 EMA. So we do not see any significant resistance or support coming in around 56 ish dollars for Snap. We can continuously maybe see that trend change here slightly and slightly go lower to the 89 EMA around 51 to $48. But if we do hold here around that 56 to $60 range, we could get some chop mode going in there. So CRM, yeah, CRM, Salesforce, yeah, that one sadly is really much in the no man's zone, aka it has broken past the 200 EMA and now it's super lost. It's basically going into deep dark space. It's no longer in any kind of gravitational pull from Earth, and it's now kind of looking for trying to level off here around 200 to 199, which was previously some resistance that we saw back here before its monster quarter coming out here. So the $200 range would be the next level of potential resistance. But again, with this very aggressive actions to the downside, that could easily break 200 and potentially see 180 to 190 if that selling really continues going on here. Um, no worries. Hopefully, it was helpful. You're welcome, Johnny Bravo, and thank you for always being a wonderful supporter and a very kind individual. And you're very welcome. Thank you, sir, for coming by and stopping by and watching the video. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Have a blessed day. I'm Ken, the dyslexic investor, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace.